Good morning, my fellow chicken lovers. It's Heather with Murray's Home for Wayward Chickens. And remember the other day we had Mopsy, who was in the house because she wasn't feeling well. So she's a little more spunky now. And remember, Mopsy is not one of the chickens that is used to being handled all the time. So she let me hold her the other day because she was not feeling good. In fact, I haven't slept much. So we took a nap together on the couch for several hours the other day. And when she woke up, I found the cause for her being under the weather. So we're gonna go over a few learning things for today. I wanna say hello to a small group of people who actually say that they love to watch the videos to see if there's anything educational that they can learn about chickens. And so I wanna say hello to Kristen and one of our our biggest, she's been a great support to the rescue, and she is homeschooling her chickens, one of her children has this incredible gentleman rooster named Sardine, and he's the one that I had made the sort of like a tuxedo, the vest and the pashmina. So they have some fancy chickens over there. And I wanted to let them know that when Mopsy and I woke up from our nap the other day, she dropped an egg on the floor. It wasn't like she laid an egg. She dropped a full-size egg with virtually no shell. And so we previously discussed the poor chicken that we had to do the necropsy on when she had 28 egg yolks. She was an internal egg layer that had an infection called salpingitis. Well, that's like a secondary infection to a beginning illness called peritonitis. And so peritonitis is where the chicken lays soft-shelled eggs, which is not normal once they're of adult, full egg-laying stages. So in the beginning, they might get some funky, like their beginning fart eggs, where we call them fart eggs. Ooh, there's may not be a yolk in it, or it's a little tiny egg. It might be empty. That's a starter egg. Once they get up and running, and they get their color and their consistency, their eggs won't change much. They might get a little bit larger as the chicken gets older, and but once it's done, they'll have the same consistent eggs for the most part. And Mopsy lays some big double yolkers on a regular basis. She dropped an egg on the floor that had almost no shell. The shell was very thin. It was in the beginning stages of forming a shell, and it was more of a membrane. It had very little shell to it. So I did some research, and that's normally a condition that's called peritonitis. So it's an infection where it's bacterial, which is great. Not that you want a chicken to be sick, but it's better. Viral, you have to just sort of wait it out. And if chickens get too sick and they can't fight it, then they don't make it. But at least bacterial we can treat. So I read some articles that I forwarded to the vet's office, and she agreed that the same, she had read the article once before. So we have to put Mopsy on tetracycline, which is like an oxytet soluble. It's a powder, and it gets mixed. It's a compound that gets mixed in her water, and if she's not drinking enough fluid, we have to give her a more concentrated version in a syringe and feed it to her the way I was showing you that we fed the polyvisol the other day. And so we also have to give her meloxicam, which is a pain reliever, so that she's not in so much discomfort, because a few hours after she laid that egg, she was sort of like chilling out in the corner over here, and she dropped another egg. Chickens take approximately, I think it's 26 to 28 hours to lay an egg. I think 26. It's a little over, so they don't lay at the exact same time every day. It's similar. It takes more than 24 hours to form an egg. So the fact that she would drop a full-sized egg without a shell, and then just 3 hours later drop another egg, means that when you have peritonitis, a piece of the yolk doesn't necessarily form all the way, and it can get stuck somewhere. And if it does, yolks are sterile, but they're so perfectly formed and like a superfood. It's a breeding ground for bacteria. So even though it starts out sterile, it can help give a place for bacteria to grow, causing a secondary infection. And if it gets into the bloodstream, or if it crosses into like the cloacal, then it gets into the organs, and it gets bad, and it can progress. So what we did was We put her on the tetracycline, 3/4 of a teaspoon per gallon of water. We gave her some meloxicam to keep her comfortable. But one of the things that I had talked about in the last video with the chicken that didn't make it, that had salpingitis, was that sometimes they'll do a surgery or they'll give the chicken a hormone under their wing to stop them from laying eggs. And our vet said she hadn't really tried the hormone therapy thing yet, but because we caught this really early, which is the perfect reason why you pay attention to your chickens, they're prey animals. So as a prey animal, they're tough. They won't show signs of illness. They won't show signs of weakness until they're ready to die. And at that point, it doesn't really matter to them. So we have to stop her from laying eggs. And in order to do that, we had to buy Plan B. Now, the Plan B is, it's a human pill. I got the generic form of it because I had no idea that it cost $46 for one dose. And they make a generic form of it called Take Action. And the only reason I would tell you about it is because this is going to help her. Whatever's in this is not going to, it's not going to off any sort of fertilized egg, but it's going to stop her from producing eggs. That's all it's going to do. And so we're waiting to hear back from the vet because Mopsy weighs she's 3 pounds 2 ounces or 3 pounds 4 ounces. And based on what her weight is, we're going to have to cut this pill down to the size for the dose that she needs. And she may need more than one. It might be a dose. I'm waiting to hear from the vet. But we have to give her Plan B just to stop her from laying eggs, from producing eggs. So during that time, the antibiotic will kick in and help to cure the infection. Because if she continues to try to produce eggs while she has this infection, she stands more of a chance of having one of those yolks not make it into a shell and go internally into the system and cause further infection. They think that most of the time this is caused from E. coli. Not in a bad way where, the eggs we have E. coli or anything. Chickens carry a certain level of worm load, which is a normal, healthy level of worm load. And when the worms in their system become too much, then you have to, you deworm them and get rid of them. But they're always going to have a certain little low level of worm in their system, the same way that they're always going to have low levels of E. coli in their system. It's only when the E. coli are transferred from one system into another do you have an effect on the meat and the eggs. So when they have an infection like peritonitis or salpingitis, the cross-infection, cross-bacteria start going into different organs, then it's a concern. It's not like her having a little bit of E. coli in her system potentially means that she's, producing eggs that have E. coli in them. So I just want to make sure, it's chickens are, it's normal for them to have certain levels because they're exposed to all this stuff outside in the wild and they eat things off the ground. And wild birds are infamous and notorious for passing disease to flocks because they drop their, you know what your car looks like in the summertime when you park under a tree. So when that stuff hits the ground and the chickens are pecking around foraging, they do get cross-contamination from other illnesses. So it's normal for that. But we are going to give this, the doses of minoxidil and the tetracycline. Tetracycline, I believe, is for 7 to 10 days in her water. And we're going to give her the Take Action. I took a picture of the egg. I don't know if I think I might be able to find a way to put it up so that you can see what it looks like. She didn't exhibit any other signs that I had previously indicated that are indicators for either the salpingitis or the peritonitis. She didn't walk like a penguin because she wasn't all backed up with eggs, but she was lethargic. You saw how lethargic she was the other day. The vitamins definitely helped. I know I kept saying polyvisol when I was rubbing Vet RX. I haven't slept. So I'm going to show you. She won't even let me hold her anymore, which it makes me sad, but it means that she's feeling a little bit better. So she's over here. Mopsy. And I do want to give her a bath, but I'm going to wait because I don't want to I don't want to make her uncomfortable and push it. So she'll get a bath at some point to get her cleaned up. And the other chickens are going to be in the house with her, but she has to be separated. So she's in the laundry room with a perch, food and water, and a door to the outside, should she choose to go out. But it's too cold. So we got Taylor and Polly in the house too. It's going to be a mess in here. But If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them, and I will keep you posted on the update with Mopsy. Really, really, really happy that we caught this so early and that there's a really good chance we're going to be able to help her with it. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.